Are you curious about home prices and the market and interest rates here in Northeast Columbia? Well, stay tuned for February's market update because I'm spilling all the tea on what's going on in our real estate market, and you don't want to miss it. Of course, real estate has been the topic on many people's minds for the past couple of years now. Not only is it such a huge investment, but with the way things happened during the pandemic and with home prices and, the appraisals and all the horror stories that you heard, it has just been a hot topic for, like I said, years. But today we're going into Northeast Columbia February market update, so that way people can say what they want and they can have their opinions. But I can tell you one thing. The data doesn't lie. So that's why I love the data, because the numbers are what the numbers are. So let's dive into February's market update and let's see what's going on here in Northeast Columbia, South Carolina. So we are actually, let me get the right paper. So we actually did more transactions than we did last year. So we're starting to see this now. We did 18% more. So we closed out 187 transactions in February, which is up 18% as mentioned. Now, the home prices hadn't changed since February of last year. Now, throughout this 12 months from February 23 to 24, we have seen some ups and downs. Obviously, new construction is having a huge impact on that. But the average home price right now is still around that 302, right over that $300,000 threshold. But we see that we have more inventory right now on the market, 20% more, which is huge. And all these things you'll see how the numbers affect the numbers. So we have 20% more current active listings right now than what we had last year. And when you look at this chart, you'll see that we started off January. We started this year with 5 months of inventory. Now, some people say, a balanced market is between 4 and 6. Some people say 5 and 7 months worth of inventory. But we were right there in the beginning of January. But as we notice now, we're in March recording this, but as things are trending, inventory is going down because, like we said, we did more transactions than what we did. So now we currently only have 3 months worth of inventory heading into February. And we anticipate that number is going to continue there because buyer activity is picking up as interest rates have came down since January. And then not only that, but the warmer weather, and we are heading into the spring market. And you can also see that when you look at the new listings versus the sales. You'll see how many new listings we had in January. We took less in February. And of course, we have started March, and March isn't completed, but we've taken less. But you can see that the sales have went up in February too. So not only are we taking less listings, but then the sales are going up, which is why you can see the number of months of inventory going down. So of course, but how is the buyer's reaction to this? Well, when you look at February 2024, the average days on the market is 50 days on the market. So things are sitting longer. We hadn't seen 50 days on the market in quite some time now. Last February, it was 60 days on the market. So things were even moving slower then with better rate. But right now, 50 days on the market, the average list to sell price is 98.98%, which is still pretty good, right? So sellers are pretty much getting their number, even though things are sitting on the market longer. So at 98.9%, that is still pretty good in terms of like price reduction, because you got to think the price reductions are affecting this number as well. But this is list price to sell price. And when you look at that number last year, it was 98.95. Right now it's 98.99. So still very much sellers are getting their number, even though they are giving more concessions. They're doing more closing costs. They're doing more rate buy down. They're doing things to make it easier to secure that offer because obviously days on the market are a little bit longer and sellers are still kind of in that mindset of they want their home sold quickly. And keep in mind, 50 days is still relatively quick to sell a house. That's not even 2 months. But when you look at it from comparison, so we compared it to February of 2023, but from January of this year the list to sell price was 99.22. So we seen that go a little bit, down a little bit. The average days on the market was 45 days on the market. So things are sitting about almost a week longer. But we did more transactions. So in January, we only did 140 transactions. And then in February, which is a shorter month, we did 187. So we see how things are picking up. We see how these more transactions are affecting the inventory that we had. And then you can anticipate that that's going to, now that inventory is lower and we're getting into the spring market, which is the busier season, we can anticipate that we're going to see prices increase more now. So all this is really good. So let's look at our breakdown of price point. So when you look at this graph and you break it down by price point, you see our average price is $300,302 actually. And with the interest rates, the most active is actually the 200 to 300 price range with 193 active, 215 pending, and 81 closed. That's almost double the next one, which is the 300 to 400. So consistently, the 200 to 400 range is going to be our most active price point. With our average price being right at 300, that's almost right at that median threshold. So above it and below it is going to be the most active price point. So we consistently see that. But right now with the interest rates, that 200 to 300, there's better affordability in that market. So we see how even though the active between 200 and 300 is 193, and active between 300 and 400 is 157, so relatively close. But look at the difference in the pending from 215 to 112. So almost double at that 200, 300 price point. And then look at the close, 81 to 59. So we can anticipate that is going to be a hot market, 200, 300. That market is probably going to move faster in terms of days on the market. And then as you get above that, things are going to be a little bit slower because the affordability isn't there. So obviously this is a bird's eye view looking at the Northeast market and what's going on. But this data helps us to not only see where we're currently at, but where things are moving to and where we're trending. So coming from a more balanced market, sellers are still getting good prices for their home. There's still good equity, but things have shifted from the COVID. So, if you're thinking about putting your house on the market, one, it's important you have realistic expectations. Not only of when the house is going to sell and how long it's going to take, but what you need to do to prepare that house. Buyers are more educated now. Buyers are paying more for the same house because the interest rates are higher. So we mentioned that the average price is still $302, but if the interest rate is now 6.5% or 7% versus 5.5% or 6% last year, they're paying more for the exact same house. So they're going to expect more. So as a seller, you got to have realistic expectations. And as a buyer, you got to have realistic expectations in this market. You see that inventory is decreasing, right? So there aren't as many options. So maybe what's on your wish list, maybe if you got a fenced in backyard, maybe you got to find a house without that and then put that up later. Maybe you don't need to be so particular on negotiations for repairs because once again, inventory is shrinking, so there's not as much supply. But all of this depends on your specific situation, your specific need, your specific goals for you and your family. So this is a bird's eye view to give you a perception of what's going on in the Northeast area. If you live here, whether you're renting your property out, whether you're thinking about making a move, or whether you're just curious, that's fine. But if you want to know more specific, we can break down by specific price point, by zip code, by neighborhood, and find out really the details that are most important for you. And even if you don't live in the Northeast, then you need to check out our all MLS video because that gives you video on the whole MLS, which is the greater Columbia area. So, Lexington County, Richland County, and some surrounding Kershaw County as well. And then some of the other counties, but that's the greater Columbia area that our MLS serves predominantly. So you can always reach me, 803-608-2597. I'm Antonio Newton, your local realtor with the Newton Group and Coldwell Banker, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. Check out our YouTube channel, where it has a ton of videos there, answering buyer questions, seller questions, investor questions, and give us a call. I'm never too busy to take your call. And if I can't answer when you call, I promise I'll give you a ring back. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe.